Truth and Black Excellence family. And my answer here coming to you live. And I have a very special guest that I feel like when I met her, I was like, yeah, we locked eyes across the room at an event. And I said, I need to know who this gorgeous woman is. So I am here with Simone Jennifer Smith, psychoeducationalist. Like, can we just talk about that title real quick? Psychoeducationalist.
You know what? I may have come up with that moniker. To be honest with you, I really believe because I don't think I've heard it outside of me. And I'll tell you the reason why. So, when our community, especially people in the African and Caribbean diaspora, and when you hear the word psychotherapist, most people turn and head the other way. Okay. We don't want to
Yeah,
be associated with anything psycho.
correct.
So, one thing that I have learned, and we'll go more into my background, but education is the foundation of psychotherapy. It's the understanding of yourself.
Right.
So I said, you know what, when I'm presenting myself to my community, I'm not going to come in and say, you know what, hey, I have my master's in humanistic and clinical psychology. Nobody cares about that. I'm a
Right.
psychoeducationalist. So I'm going to help you learn about yourself. And I'm going to tell you and teach you about your psyche. That's what I'm going to educate you on your psyche. Hence, psychoeducationalist.
And I love that because that really kind of diffuses, if you
Yeah.
will, because you like you said, our community, the Black community in general, is like, go to a therapist. Oh, no way. Oh, that means I'm crazy. No, no, no. That means I'm weak. It's a sign of weakness instead of a sign of
Mm-hmm.
strength. And
Yeah.
especially boys. They're taught to be a big boy. Big boys don't cry, and oftentimes
Mm-hmm.
they end up suppressing a lot of what's going on inside of them. And instead of dealing with it, they act out, they do things,
Yeah.
that's their outlet, is goes down wrong paths sometimes,
And
right? And then
women, Emma, we're taught to be
women too,
strong.
right?
We have to be strong all the time. We've got to keep it together even when our lives are falling apart. We've got to hold it together even though the systems that have been put in place make help and encourage most of us to be alone and to get rid of the man, right? But we've got to be strong. We've got to go through all this stuff in our life and be strong. And it's like, well, even the strongest tree breaks.
And we can only be everything to everybody for so long. So
Yes.
I don't want to discount women. Women too. The idea of going to a therapist and having to be vulnerable, not everybody wants to do it. Period.
No.
Man, woman, child, you name it. In
Yes.
our community, it's something that's really lacking.
Yeah.
So, oh, Vanessa's here. Hey, Vanessa. Vanessa says hi, 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 Vanessa. Thanks so much
Hi,
for
Vanessa.
joining. And thank you to those that have already joined. To those who just joined, I am here with Simone Jennifer Smith, psychoeducationalist, and we're going to talk about what Jennifer does, right? And then we're also going to talk about these stigmas in our community and
Mm.
why it is that we tend to carry a lot of baggage, if you will, a lot of baggage, a lot of traumas
Mhm.
into every asset of our lives, whether it be employment, whether it be friendships, whether it be relationships, and not really wanting to deal with it. And,
Yeah.
so let's have that conversation. But first,
Right.
tell us more about you so people can know more about you.
So I will start from the tippy top. Born and raised in a very strong Jamaican family. I was very lucky, and I'm gonna say lucky. I'm not gonna say the word blessed for some reasons, but I was fortunate, let's say that, to be raised by two great parents. I've had my mom and father my entire life. That's not something
Same.
yeah, it's not something that's very common.
It is
So
not.
I until I went to high school, I didn't even know that, the whole idea of mothers being by themselves even existed because I was raised in the church. And in the church, most
Same.
families have the brother or have the mother and father together, regardless of the things that might be happening. The mothers and fathers stay together. So I was raised in a very loving family, and I can appreciate that as well. But of course, with that came its stuff, right?
Of
Uh,
course.
when I was very young, I came face to face with mental health trauma. My
Mm.
grandmother actually was diagnosed with schizophrenia and she
Mm.
had Alzheimer's. Now, you've got to understand when you're really young, I was maybe 10 or 11 when this diagnosis happened. And this is the time where the talks of mental health were not even going at them times, right? People weren't even, like, again, you're mud. I'm mud, you're mud, right? They weren't, it wasn't like how everyone's talking about, like, Belle, let's talk. None of that was happening, right? So I saw this woman who I knew to be very strong, again, strong Jamaican woman, cultured. She used to babysit us and take care of us, and she worked. I just saw her deteriorate in front of me. And it didn't make sense. Like at that young age, I was trying to make sense of it. Like I will never forget this one story where she had my brother and I looking for a bird. And why we actually started doing it, let me explain this. We were in our house and she said, there's a bird in the house. And we had a house at the time where the chimney, sometimes birds would build their nest and a bird would fall in into the fireplace and my dad would have to take it out and release it. So when she said it to us, we're like, oh, it happened again. But then she started to describe it to us, and we're like, um, mom, because she described a big white bird that was walking around the house. And we're
Oh.
yes. And we were like, there's something not right. There'd be times when we would go to church and come home, the door would be left wide open. We couldn't find my grandmother. So
Oh gosh.
things that I was yeah, it was v shock treatment. I don't know if anyone has parents or were back in those days where shock treatment was still happening. I was
Mm.
At Scarborough Centenary Hospital. They were still giving shock treatment, and I
Oh.
remember being on that floor and seeing my grandmother come out of shock treatment and her just being like a zombie, right?
Mm.
'Cause it was a very very traumatic situation for myself watching it, and of course for my father because it was his mother. And again, they didn't have the tools. They didn't have the tools that are available to us now.
Yeah.
So I remember at a very, very young age, I said to my mother, I said, Mom, I think I want to learn about this whole psychology mind thing because if I'm going to go crazy like grandma did, I want to know why it's happening and how it's happening. I was like 16. So
Wow.
at 16 years old, I knew that there was some type of genetic component that
Yeah.
somehow I knew it could be somehow passed down to me. I didn't know nothing about that back then, but I was like, I don't want none of this to happen to
Whatever that is, I don't want it. So let me go study about it.
and that's what I did. And I'm going to tell you right now, Emma, if it wasn't for, I consider myself fortunate again. I had parents who were able to put me through school, and I was able to do exactly what I said I was going to do. I was going to study the mind, I was going to study
Mm.
behavior. I was going to take it there because I didn't want to lose myself and not understand
Mhm.
what was happening. So I was fortunate enough to take psychology in university, take my honors, do my master's. Then life happened. I was about a year away from doing my PhD, and life happened. That's a completely different topic. We'll do that another day.
Because you will be back.
Yeah, I will be back because we have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
But in this time of learning, I learned so much about who I was and the things that I was going through. And even though I was learning, I still didn't completely understand how to, for lack of better words, fix myself. And there was a
Mm.
lot to deal with. And for many years, and this is why I want to speak to everybody today, for many years, life was not going the way that I wanted it to go. People would see me and say, okay, you know what? I have what it takes. I have the intelligence, I have the so-called looks. I have the charisma. I have the confidence. But somehow I couldn't get my shit, sorry, stuff to get YouTube, don't lock me off. I couldn't get
You'll
myself
be
together.
you'll be all right. I know, right? And I have popcorn.
Reset. so so for years I didn't want to take responsibility for what was happening to me. And it's something that I see prevalent in our society, not just in our community, in our society, where many of us are going through things, dealing with things, repetitive life cycles, blaming oh, this person's doing this to me relationship, but you seem to attract the same person. I can't seem to make money because of whatever reason, but your patterns don't show that because we don't want to take responsibility for the fact that everything in your life, anyone listening right now, where you are right now in your life has been every single decision that you have decided to make.
Yep.
Period.
Facts.
You have shaped your life. And if you don't like it, you are the only one to blame. I know that might be hard to
Tough
hear,
love.
but you are the one to blame. It doesn't matter what you went through when you were younger. We all go through things. All of us do. There's not a single human on this planet that has not
Mhm.
experienced something that has changed the direction of their lives. Something. Now, what you do with that, that's what we're here to talk about today, is what you do with these changes.
And I always say, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life, it's what you do when you get up. So when you get up, it's how you navigate when you get up. I've got to go to the comments because people are talking already. Joshua, hi. Joshua says hello. Vanessa says truth. I was blessed to have two boys and two girls. Chores were divided up with all of them being boys, washed the dishes as well as the girls, and my girls took out the trash as well as the boys. So there was like that whole thing of she said, I was married, single parent who was always thought differently about gender divide.
Mm,
And then she says, I never told my boys to stop crying because I always thought it was cathartic.
it is.
Yeah. But in our community,
They
that's
can
not a
cry.
thing. And why do you think that is?
Well, it's just what we've been. A lot of this gender divide that you just spoke about. Thank you for your comments, by the way. Uh, our young men have also been taught through trauma that you are not allowed to feel.
Yeah.
That's not your job. Leave that to women.
Yep.
Leave that to women to feel.
Or if you even speak about what you're feeling, if you were even say I'm hurt or I'm this, it's like no, no, no. No, be
So,
a man. Get
right.
some,
So,
you know
Emma,
what?
listen, when you see, okay, and I always try to break this down for people. It's okay for a man to get angry, right? But I ask people, what is anger?
Mm,
Is it not an emotion?
is what I'm saying. But
And it's been said, and it's proven that sometimes anger is just another form of sadness.
it is, but when people think about anger and sadness, they for some reason will look at anger as strength and sadness as weakness, or crying as weakness, but being mad and aggressive as strength. That's me being a big boy.
Is it
Or
though?
no,
Is it?
I know for me personally, I appreciate because, when you think about, I'm just going to make a little bit of a lane change, but when you think about your ideal man, as we as
Mhm.
sisters, like let's just talk sisters, Vanessa,
Okay.
you too in the chat. When you're looking for your ideal man and you have a list, you've got your checklist and you got your kill list. At the top for me is a good communicator.
Number
Period.
one.
If
Period.
you cannot communicate, we can't hang.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And I appreciate a man who's able to cry, who's able to say, look, what you're doing is hurting me. What you're doing is upsetting me. That this, broke my heart. I like that.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to find these
Yes.
days,
Because
especially in
they're
our
not taught
community.
that. They're not taught that. You're not allowed to do that. That's not your role.
And that's the sad part, and I feel like that's what makes, a lot of relationships difficult
Mhm.
because the love languages aren't aligning. You're just not the right fit, and then they say, well, we can't read you women's minds. We can't read yours.
Exactly. Sometimes, and
You're not.
having that dialogue, people don't understand, and not just men and women all relationships. There
Yeah,
is, again, and it goes back to knowing yourself.
yeah,
Because sometimes these comments that we like to throw out, I'm gonna state something right now, and I want this word to resonate with all of our watchers and listeners. The idea of not procrastination, of projection. Projection is when, remember, as humans, as people, we only understand the world from the inside out, not from
mhm,
the outside in.
yeah,
Okay? We see the world through the lens of our beliefs, our culture, our understanding of life. So sometimes when we are making comments on people, those comments are something that is in us.
yeah.
And we've got to be very careful. When I hear people say, oh, she's like this, oh, he's like that. Well, how would you know that?
Mm. It's the prejudices, right?
These are things that are internal. So I want to make sure we keep that in mind as we go through this discussion. We've got to be very mindful in our communication and be aware of when we're saying things to our partners, our friends, our coworkers, our community members, when we're throwing out comments about who these people are, both bad and good.
Yeah.
Those are very, very subjective words, okay? Because what's bad to me is good to somebody else,
Is
right?
that this is the thing.
Right?
Everybody has a different measuring stick, right?
Very
So
different. And that goes back to projection, right? We
it
got to be
does.
very careful about what we are saying about other people. So sometimes when I hear comments about me, I chuckle because I'm like, you're speaking about yourself and you don't even realize it. You don't even get it.
Girl, try being a media journalist when you're sharing your opinion about something and you're
Hello?
you're s- you're you're putting it out there to millions of people. And obviously not everybody's going to agree with you. So you can imagine if people think that they know you and
Mm,
they're telling you who you are and what you should have said and what you should have done and why you
mhm.
did, so it's one of those things where um you got to have to be able to weed through the minutia of it all because you cannot be in this line of work, because I know you're also a journalist.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can't be in this line of work and not expect when you put something out there what's going to come back. So it's how do you manage that? Because there are a lot of people who will be journalists or want to be in this public figure world, but then when you look at comments, for example, that people will say, you can have 100 positive comments, but those 5 negative are what people will hone in on. And then they will latch onto that and they let that fester in them. They foster that. And then all of a sudden you're going down this vortex. And then some people will be like, I'm deactivating my Instagram account. And in my mind, I'm thinking, these are some random people, okay, that you do not know and that don't know you. So why would you allow those 5 people, that 5%, to shape the way that you decide that you're going to live your life and allow it to knock down your self-esteem and all those other things? I'm sure you've had to talk to people like this.
Mhm.
So, what would you say to people who really what's the word I want to say, really are very reliant on validation from what random people on social media have to say
So
and how it
here
affects them?
so here's where it gets tricky because again, society has done a wonderful job of creating an environment for this type of behavior. Okay? And this is why I say knowledge of self is very important. And we love to, I'm telling you, I hear community members, elders, people who you see and hold in high regard talking about knowledge of self. You don't know nothing. I can tell you don't by the way you're acting. I can see it. I can
Well,
see
I
it.
always say the ones who speak so much about who they are, oftentimes they're trying to be somebody that they're not. or they're
And even
trying to
the ones who try
convince
to hide
themselves.
themselves, they hide themselves behind their titles
Right, and they trying to convince themselves,
of
and you
who
can
they are.
tell by the way that they present, because like, there are some people, sorry to cut you off, but it
No
just came to my
worries.
mind. There are some
Yes.
people that be on social media and all every day, "I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I love me, you see, look at me looking in the mirror with a picture looking at me looking in the mirror, and it's like, dude, I know that probably feel like you have to do these affirmations because there's more
Mhm.
going on with you. And that's not me
Absolutely.
trying to be prejudiced. It's just what I perceive from what you're putting out. And I could be dead wrong,
Mhm.
but it's one of those empty barrels make a lot of noise type of
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
That's my feeling. But
And
how would you analyze or educate somebody who is in that kind of and is willing to say, "Hey, Simone, I need some help."
oh, it's how deep down this rabbit hole do you want to go is one of my first questions. Like, I need you to understand that this is work.
Yeah,
This is not
and not overnight.
self-actualization is not easy. I'm telling you right now, at this age, I don't care about telling my age. At 46 years old, I am now really starting to truly understand who I am and how I navigate this world.
I'm
And
still learning.
it takes a lot of work.
Oh, yes.
I had to get over myself, number 1, which is something a lot of people can't do. Get over
Yep,
yourself. Move
yep.
past yourself, okay? I have to get over the idea that I am not responsible for things that have happened in my life. So these are the things I would speak to somebody about. I always have a lot of questions because in this type of work, especially with psychoeducation, it's about giving people the opportunity to question themselves. Because in our day and age, we're in a rat race. We get up, we start our day. If we have children, we have to take care of children, we gotta bring them to school, we gotta get through our day, we gotta deal with our coworkers, we gotta come home, we may have to deal with a spouse or deal with your children. When do you have actual time to work on yourself? When do some of us, unless you really want to, you're not doing it. And I'm not talking about your career. I'm talking about you. Have you looked at why your life is the way that it is? Especially if you don't like it.
Very
Especially if
true.
you don't like it, right? Instead of blaming everybody else. Oh, it's my ex who did this. My ex did this to me. What was your involvement in this? Why
And
did you make
also
those
is how
choices?
long are you gonna carry that weight? At what point are you gonna be like, "Okay, your ex did it. Now it's what are you gonna do now?"
What are
You
you
know?
doing?
Because you can't change what your ex did to you. It's the only person that has to change the way they're doing things is you. And that involves doing some work and you being retrospective and
It's
introspective to see like what
hard.
role did you play in it, right?
It's so hard.
Because guys will be who guys are gonna be, right?
And women will be who women are gonna be because we're
That
just
part.
as bad.
That part.
Take it
So
from me,
Me
okay?
too. I had to do the work. I had to do the work and I'm in my 50s and I'm still doing the work. You
It's
know,
tough.
Vanessa says this is why it is bravery to us. The statement as well as saying this is about me when start a comment to show your
Mirror
mirroring
yourself,
self
not
and not them.
look at Vanessa doing the work. Go ahead, go
Yes, girl, go girl.
I like that. That's work. That's
Oh,
work.
she's fixing the typos here. So
Okay,
statements are about bravery, and when commenting, I believe one should start by giving a real example of themselves if it pertains to something that happened in their life. Indeed.
absolutely.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. When you decide that you want to get the help, you got to be ready to open up. Just like if you go to a doctor about a physical thing, if you feel like you
Exactly.
maybe caught some STI, let's just say, and you don't
Mhm.
want to say what it is, like what your symptoms are, well, how are they going to know? You got
You're
to be
never
willing
gonna
to
heal.
open up and say, well, I'm itching. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And many of us are
Go.
itching inside.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be able to do the work. What do you say about people that um, are in relationships? Okay. Because I'm sure you've had to deal with that as well are
Mhm.
in relationships and are not, it's like interracial relationship.
Okay.
And you've got a white woman, black man, they got biracial babies, and there's a culture clash
Mm.
because, we come from the world of you get the strap.
Mhm.
They come from the world of you get time out.
Mhm.
And there's like a clash because there was a lack of trying to educate yourself on the culture, but you were more you're just more into, this is a beautiful black man and let me just get myself with this black man,
Mm.
and you're not thinking long term about what happens when you have kids and their reality with their life, right? Which is not going to be like yours. Their
Right.
experience, lived experience from young, is not going to be the same. And then that causes a lot of clashing within the relationship. And then as a result of that, the kids suffer as well. So you got this family in front of you, okay? This blended family. How do you manage helping them navigate through that relationship to salvage it, or like be like, look, I can't help you guys?
Okay, so I would have some questions. So, and I'm going to be a little spiritual here. I am going
I
to
love it.
to
Bring it.
go on the spiritual side of things. And I hope I don't sound fluffy when I say this, but sometimes when you connect with a soul, it really doesn't have anything to do with how we look. Remember, race is a social
Construct.
construct. We
Indeed.
need to really get that into our heads to understand that the idea of race and racism has been generated for a reason. Divide and conquer is a very real thing. It's part of the psychology. Okay. So I want to make sure I'm very clear about that. But many of us have gotten caught up into the idea of race. Now, unfortunately, because it is a social construct and we have gotten caught up into it, we land into situations like you just spoke about. So, my spiritual side says, you know what? Sometimes you can't help loving who you love. Sometimes you meet someone in the soul connects, and you
Yeah.
find something with them. But what you have to now understand is that we are living in a society, because this it's not like this all over the world. I want to again make people understand. A lot of us think that we are the center of this world. We are not. There are a lot of other countries where sometimes you speak about racism, they're like, "What? What are you
Yeah,
talking?
like Africa.
What are you talking
Go to
racism?"
the continent.
There are
Land
places
in
there that
Ghana.
there's places there that had to have it severely, like South Africa. Racism
Yes.
is a very real thing, but there are other places where racism. What are you even talking about? I have people who've come from Africa, and when they see this whole race, and they're like,
They
"What
don't
is going on?
understand.
We don't get this."
And on the flip side, you have people that are not from Africa that'll go to Ghana and Nigeria and be like, I cannot believe this sense of peace. I don't have to worry about being racially profiled.
Profiled. And again, it's unfortunate that it's contract. So going back to your question, it's about, you know what, I would, again, you're right. I think the number one thing is people have to be very aware of where they are in this world, and understand that as much as, love is great and fantastic, there's some realities that you're going to have to face, especially when you're raising a child, a biracial child. My niece is biracial. She
Same.
just this year has come into herself because she realized, like, for many years I don't think she had really embraced who she was until she started getting treated as a woman of color. Because you can't change how you look. Our genes are strong. Okay? It doesn't matter if you have a drop of our blood in you. You can see it. It is there. And she began to be identified as a woman of color. And then she realized, I have no choice because they're treating me like this. So now I have to be a certain way. And it's now that she's starting to step into herself and understand that, look, yes, I am half this and I am half this. But when I'm identified on the road, they see me as this. They have to try to guess
Period.
what my other side is. But,
Period.
but my hair is a dead giveaway. My
Yeah.
skin is a dead giveaway. My shape is a dead giveaway. You can't, they're going to see that before they see any other race. And
Well, and
that's
this is why I keep saying, like, you'll always identify, which is why your mama or your daddy, whichever one isn't black, will not understand that reality, but they will through the lens of their child.
yes,
And that's when they
absolutely.
realize, "Oh, there's a lot that I need to learn." There's a lot that I need to know now because I need to be able to prepare my child for their reality, which is not mine.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
some people are not able to do that. Some people
No.
are, again, they just fall in love with the idea of falling in love. And it's
Exactly.
not enough.
No, it's
Sorry.
not.
It's never enough. This is why sometimes those relationships don't work. Sometimes the relationships work out beautifully. And people are together for years and have beautiful full families and
Oh,
children and grandchildren. And it's like,
yes.
kudos to you for, you know what? I see those people as being a little bit more heightened, maybe a little bit more knowledgeable about life, and they've found a way to navigate our society. But unfortunately, some of us are dealing with way too much trauma to do that, right? Some of us, and some men, I'm going to speak to the men because that's what you spoke about first. Because I want to say there's a lot of women right now, women of color, who are starting to date outside because they're getting fed up with our men.
Yes.
Okay, because it
Yes.
was trauma that they're,
Yeah.
and again, it goes back to, why is that happening? What?
Yeah, you gotta ask the why, and,
Why?
I've been seeing a lot lately that people are coming down on the Williams sisters, Venus and Serena,
Mm,
and saying, "Oh, they both went and married white men. Why did they do that?" Well,
mm,
why don't you ask yourself why? Because when you see the large percentage of black men that are going the other way, black women are also deserving of love. I just say
yeah.
we need to proceed with caution.
That's
That's
it.
my
Proceed with
that's my thing.
caution and understand the society that you live in. Understand your cultural landscape,
Yes,
right?
and also understand that because there's this preconceived notion that once you leave the black man, you're going to be better off. And you need to understand that every race, there's good and bad. There's good and bad in every ethnicity, there's
Hmm.
good and bad in every nationality. It's about the right fit.
Yes,
So, but I feel like sometimes people let their guard down or become a little more complacent once they say, "That's it, I'm done with black men." And the red flags seem to become pink and pale pink and
again,
you know
again, trauma,
yeah,
trauma. When you're
yeah,
saying
you're
blanket
carrying that.
statements like "I'm done," there's a reason for that.
Yes.
Did you have your father in your life? First question. What
Yeah.
was your father to you? Let me tell you
Yeah.
something, girl. I have dated outside my, I've dated everything. Do you hear me?
I would like to say I did, but I just have not.
I
But
have. But can I tell you what I've always come back to?
yeah.
My own. And do you
Yeah.
know why? Because I love my father.
Yeah.
You understand me? I
Yeah.
love my dad, and my dad loved me and has always loved me. So guess what? And it goes back to, and we again, we have to talk more about this. There's no way we're going to cover everything because I have
Oh,
she
segments upon segments upon
girl,
segments,
girl.
girl.
Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if whatever you're taught when you're younger, you will always come back to it. And
Yeah.
for me personally, even though I had the opportunity because I was exposed to so much, because I moved around a lot when I was younger. So
So
because
did we. Oh my gosh, I feel like we have the same life.
I was exposed to a lot, girl, a lot.
Same.
So with my exposure, I got exposed to different races, and and it was interesting because different races treated me differently, but there was always a level of respect that was given to me from all races. I've never had those issues where it's like they've treated me badly. No.
Oh, I can't say that.
I know, girl, this is where we do differ. And you know what? I we'll speak about that another day too, but
Yes.
my experiences are very different from yours when it comes to that. You know what? Very quick story, and I'll say this. Every significant achievement, and I'm going to say this with all honesty, everyone, anytime I've moved forward or up or been given an opportunity, it was a white man involved. It's, I know, girl, I know. And I know you're like, what? And let me tell you, I'm going to give you just the quick roundup so you can see. When I was in high school, my guidance counselor happened to be a white man. And he was
Okay.
the one who said to me, Simone, because I was troubled. I was having a lot of problems in high school. I was doing the most, very troubled. But he said, I see a brilliance in you. And even though, you know what, Simone, you could be getting the grades, I see you're not, you're skipping school, I don't know what's happening in your life, but I'm going to write you a letter so that you get into university. And he did that for me. And I got into university. When I got into university, I had two white professors. Mind you, I was doing much better in school, but they both gravitated to me. They encouraged me to do my master's and both wrote me letters to get into my master's program. Okay. Again, my experiences have been very, very different than many. This is a very different experience than some women have had with men from other races, right? Regardless of all of that, when it came to making a decision on who I want to settle down with, I had to stay with my own. And it goes back to the fact that I have a very loving father. And for me, you choose who you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Period. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what. My experience is because I was just wild and free. But when it came
Yeah.
back to who I was going to settle with, I had to come back home.
You came back home.
I had to. Where am I going? Where am I
And
going?
no shade to like we already kind of set the stage by saying, look, love who you love. You know,
Yes.
you fall in love with somebody, you fall in love with somebody. I have no judgment about it.
No,
But
no.
I just know for me, and I actually have to change my statement. I did have my white track coach. He was
Mm,
amazing. And
mm.
my voiceover coach,
Okay.
he those two people that were not black saw in me something and really encouraged me and pushed me forward. Now I will say in my life, because my background is an accountant. So the fact that I'm sitting here doing this right now,
Mm,
God, because I had like a crippling fear of public speaking. And that
mm.
goes back to childhood trauma, which we can talk about another time. But
Yes.
because of that trauma, I struggled with anything that involved all eyes on me. So the
Okay.
fact that I'm doing this now is because of a black man that took a chance on me, who saw
Beautiful.
something and heard something in me, that I am now on these platforms. Shout out to Philip Scott. He knows, I tell him all the time, the creator of the African Diaspora News Channel, who
Big up
saw
yourself.
something and heard something in me, and without journalistic experience said yes. And with that and all of the learning and stuff, you obviously you hone your craft. But coming in like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, green, no knowledge, just being me, and so I came home.
Came home.
I came
And it
home.
happens. And you know what? Like you said, everyone's life is going to be different. I can
Yeah.
only speak on my experiences,
Yes, of
right? Just
course.
like how you can only speak on yours, right? This
Exactly.
I'm very mindful with race. I look at people. I
Yeah.
do. When I see people, I do not make my judgment until I've taken time to learn them. And I'll tell you something right now. That's another thing we can talk about. If you want to learn about somebody, shut up and watch them.
Just and listen to what they're saying.
That's it. Shut up and
Mhm.
watch and listen. You will learn everything you need to learn because people can say anything. Your patterns are what really show who
Yeah.
you are.
It's a
When
beautiful formula that we as human beings and women, our women's intuition, we need to tap into that more.
Yes, and that intuition, again, you know what? Some people, because I have to speak to those who are not spiritual either, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, if you're just science, I'm going to say this. That intuition that we speak of, it's an instinct. It's an
Yeah.
instinct that it's built into us when something doesn't feel right. Back in the days when we were only grunting at some point, right? Like we had to know when to move, when to act.
Right?
We had
Right?
to know, and there was a feeling like if there's a tiger behind some bush coming for you, you had to feel, you felt like something's not right. That same instinct is what we call intuition, right?
Yes.
Where something doesn't seem right. So we go into that flight, fight, or fawn. What are you gonna do? Right? But we
Exactly.
sometimes don't know because again, I'm gonna I'm gonna keep going back to this. You need to know who you are. And that means not just the stuff, not your accolades, not your titles, not the awards that you've won, not the books that you have written. None of that matters. None of it matters.
It's facts.
Who are you? And I
Yeah.
want to talk about the grimy stuff, the stuff that you do behind closed doors, the
Yeah.
stuff that you hope people don't know about you or will never find out. You see,
Yeah.
let me tell you something. One thing I've always said, no one can call me out on nothing because I put all my stuff out on Front Street. All of it. All of it. I've had a messy, messy, messy life. Do you hear me? And I feel no ways about it because through all of it, I have learned, and it's what's made me who I am today. And I can speak to it. I have addiction issues, serious ones. Okay, that is my mental health thing is addictions. I have an addictive personality.
I know people who have it, and I tell you, it's even when you like the harmful addictions, when you can get that under control, it can be all the little things that I still recognize. Oh, you really have addiction. It could be the smallest thing, like there's a TV program. You just can't get enough of that program.
Hmm.
There's a little segment. You just keep rewinding it. You can't get enough. You got to keep rewinding it and rewatching it and rewinding it. And I'm looking and I'm like, it's you still have the personality,
It's
even though
all
you've been able to contain certain aspects that were harmful to you. That personality still exists within you. Like, it is baked in, you know, and
absolutely
I see it in other things. I just don't allow it to affect me because at least it's better than the other harmful addictions that you may have had. So if you want to rewind it a few times, rewind it and rewatch it a few times. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right, right. And you're right. The personality, it doesn't go away. And again, this goes back to the work. Um, for me,
No.
my addictions are sexual, and I know where it comes from. And I can proudly say I've been able to control myself for about a year and a half now. And let me tell you something, Emma, it's no small feat. Do you hear me?
I know.
Because I found for many years, and here we're going to go back to accountability. I found ways to rationalize all of my behavior and blame it on everything outside of me. It's so easy to. And then when I
Yeah.
did that, I didn't have to take accountability for the actions after that. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm doing this because of what happened to me when I was younger.
Yeah.
So when does your trauma stop being your cage?
You got to be ready to get help and do the work. You got to be.
And
And
it's
until you
hard.
get there, you'll just keep on going and going, and I know people had that exact addiction,
It's
and it wasn't until
crazy.
they were ready, just like they say with AA and stuff, you gotta be ready to first admit it. And
Admit.
once you admit it and acknowledge it, then you can say, "Okay, I need to get the help because I'm harming and hurting so many people." And
Exactly.
you have to really be in a position where are acknowledging and taking accountability for it. And then you got to really be able to say, okay, what can I do now? I
Mm,
can no longer keep carrying the heavy attachment of the past. So what
no.
can I do now to fix it so that I stop missing out on love and, letting those good people go away? And I'm not just talking about romantic partners. I'm talking about friends. I'm talking
And
about,
yes,
really good
family.
people that are willing to be there with you through it and stuff. And, you know, it's up to the individual. You gotta be willing to do the work. So what
Honey.
would you say, because what I'm seeing a lot now are all of these groups that are coming
Mm,
up where, for example, Troy Crossfield has Iron Sharpens Iron, where the first Friday of every month, the group of men get together who have mental health challenges, and they talk and they share and they
beautiful,
pray and they do all of
beautiful.
those things, right? And I'm
Love it.
starting to see that, and I feel like it kind of the launching pad for it was seeing people like Common, for example, who wrote a book about his life, and in watching documentaries about R. Kelly and Diddy, and you seeing their past and what they went through as kids, and
Yes.
I feel like it's emboldened a lot of men more and more now to come out and talk about, or getting together as a group anyway to talk about that. So how do you feel when you see like all of these men, these black men that are getting together, and they're doing women's ones too? I personally love it. I just wonder, should we also have a specialist in the room? You know, it's
I
great if
think
they all get together, but should we also have like a therapist in the room?
I think that there's strength in knowing that someone else can relate to your pain, okay? Because for many of us, we live inside of our heads and we think that we're the only ones going through what we're going through.
Yeah.
So what groups do is groups allow you to see that other people are dealing with some of the same challenges that you are, right? And people can be at different steps in their healing or their evolution, as I like to call it, right? So being in those groups allows you sometimes to see where you were and where you can go, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure these groups have a wide range of men all at different
Oh,
stages,
yes.
right?
Indeed. Yeah.
So I think they're beautiful. There's one that I know for sure that I'm actually very proud of. There's the Lion Circle that's been around for a long time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what I like about what they do, well, first they try to keep women out of it, but I'm like, I'm nosy and fast, so I'm gonna find out what's going on in the Lion Circle, okay? Lion Circle people, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna know. I'm
You
gonna
better
know.
let her in.
But
Just open that door.
listen, I'm gonna kick down that door. I'll be like, listen, can you let women in for just one day so we can see what's going
Just
on with that?
one. Just one time.
But what I do know is they do a lot of empowerment and center focused work. That I do know, right? And what I appreciate about that is again, it's being with a group of people who can understand your angst, right?
Yeah.
And you don't feel alone anymore because a lot of
Yeah.
us in this world feel alone.
Yeah.
Maybe not lonely, but feel
Alone.
alone, right?
Yeah.
So good on hats off to Troy for things like that, and hats off to Lion Circle and any of these other men groups who are doing things and women groups who are doing things because I think it's important. And should there be a specialist in the room, I think it's important because sometimes there's topics that can come up, and when they come up, it can leave you feeling raw, right?
Yeah.
And you may leave that session with that rawness, and depending on where you are in your development, it could be good for you or it could be not so good for you.
Yeah, so it would be good to be able to arm them with tools before they
Yes,
go out the door, you know, coping
absolutely.
mechanisms and stuff like that. Especially
Absolutely.
if you're somebody that deals with addiction, for example, and you're opening things up. So when you leave, are you going to the next bar, you know, to soothe yourself? And
Because it
Vanessa is
feels
saying
that.
this is such a great topic. I've been engulfed in the words. I'm so glad, Vanessa. Make sure to share this along. And
Please.
you know, we're trying to put do this in an hour, but this isn't going to be the first one. I can
Mhm.
already tell because there's just so much that I want
There's a
to
lot.
ask. There's so many different, you know, facets. It's under the umbrella of this that we can literally break up and do in separate segments because there's just so much to talk about.
So
And we
Emma,
can
you
bring on
have some
other
quotes
people.
there. Sorry to interrupt. You have some quotes there. Can you throw up a couple of them? Because
I
I
was
think
just
one of the
that was
lead
where I was
quotes.
going next. We have this rapid fire, I was gonna call it. Yeah, where we can have some quotes and then we can talk to it for the next, you know, 10 minutes. So let's
Yes.
start with this one. Your because I thought this one was really good. Your childhood explains you. It does not excuse who you remain.
Mm,
Please talk to us about this one. Like I said, the heavy attachment.
mm. So there are a lot of us who grew up in not desirable situations. And because of that, you see life in a certain way. You have a view on life. Okay. Now, your view might be, and I'm gonna say this. Let's say as a child you were abused. Okay? You were abused by your mother, you're abused by your father. You now see the world in a very different light than someone who, like myself, was not abused by their mother or father in that type of way. Physical, emotional abuse comes in many ways. Okay.
Of course.
Now, when you grow up, you may have children of your own. What do you do at this point now that you've had your children? Do you learn from what you've gone through, or do you now become your parents? What tends to sometimes happen, unfortunately, when you don't do the work, is you remain your childhood trauma. So you were abused, and you now believe that the only way to be with your children, because that's all you know, is to be abusive.
Yeah. The
and
product of your environment.
a product of your environment. And this is what happens when you do not do your work. Your childhood explains why you may have the tendency to be narcissistic, abusive, condescending, hurtful, okay? All those things. But you decide at some point, you've got to understand that it does not excuse you being that same way to the people around you. If you didn't like it when you were younger, why would you think it's okay to do it to others? I'll tell you why you think it's okay, because you've not done the work. You don't know yourself. You are just living this pattern. Okay.
Yeah.
People talk about transgenerational and intergenerational trauma. We chat about it, but we don't do nothing about it.
Yeah. All
Just a
talk.
lot of
Yeah.
people in our community are living their parents' lives now
Yes.
with
Fact.
no idea.
Facts.
So I'll leave that one there.
Oh, Simone brought it. All right.
Come
Next
on.
one. After a certain age, you are no
Anything?
longer the product of your environment or how you were raised. It's
Mm.
a personal choice to live the way you do. I put it in this order deliberately. I started
Yes.
from, so tell us, sis, tell us.
Same. I'm going to just be a little bit redundant here
No
again. At
problem.
some point in your life, you can no longer blame your parents.
Yeah.
They may not have known better. We have all the tools in the world to do better. Okay? Especially if you live here in Canada. If you live in Canada, I'm sorry, we have options. I'm going to tell you right now. I have been in therapy for like the third time in my life for a year and a half now. And I'm not spending no big money on my therapist. You know why we like to make, oh, I can't find a therapist, they're too expensive. No, you don't want to do it because I
Yeah, but
wanted to make the change.
yeah,
So
you
I
can say
look,
expensive, but
yeah,
you'll spend money on that designer purse or shoes or something like that, right? So
yes, you look
why
good
not invest in yourself and your
because
mental health?
it's too hard
Yeah.
because it's easier to
Yeah.
blame my parents. I am
Yeah.
this way because of how my mom treated me or how my
Yeah.
ex treated me.
I can't tell you the amount of times, and I'm gonna be personal again, where I've been in relationships with people, and they'll say to me, "Well, what you just said has triggered me because when I was young, this is what my father did, or my sister did, or my, and then I would be like, okay, well, I'm not those people, and it would be a real conflict because in my mind, it's like I didn't go through what you went through. And I'm not the person responsible for what you went through. So stop telling me I'm your this and I'm reminding you of this person
Mhm.
and you're triggered by this. I struggled to have empathy, but and I had to do some work though.
Yeah,
I also had to do some work. It goes both ways.
absolutely.
So I had to be, Dr. Vibe has just joined. Hey, Dr. Vibe. He said it's so good to see Simone Jennifer Smith. Yeah, we're happy to have her on. Thank you for joining. We're talking about, you know, why, why,
People them.
why this community, our mental health and our struggles and why we're not willing to do the work. So Simone is bringing us to school today.
Yeah, man. Have
The
to.
psychoeducationalist is
Yes,
educating us.
have
So,
to. Have to.
yeah. So I love these quotes. So did you have anything else to add?
You know what? It's a personal choice. We at some point have to. I had to, even in my current relationship, I've had to work really hard on not projecting my feelings and my thoughts onto my partner.
Yeah.
Just because I've had a lot of messed up relationships in my life,
Yeah.
I can't continue to put that on him. My insecurities can't be on him. I have to deal with that. I've got to deal with that. Yes,
Mhm.
okay, I may have been cheated on, and I have cheated on many, many and I have been cheated on, but I can't
Let me get my
expect,
popcorn.
listen, I cannot put that on him. And I have to work on myself every single day that sometimes things will come up and I'll be like, and I want to
Yeah.
say something, I want to react. But then
Yeah.
I have to check myself because I'm like, well, Simone, he's not all those men. Okay.
Exactly.
He's someone completely different. And until he shows you different, you can't treat him like everyone else.
That's the thing. That is the thing. That's why, and you know what? It's interesting that you said that. That is why I had a negative reaction whenever I was told that.
Yeah,
Because it's like I am not that person.
get it.
I'm
Get
not
it.
responsible for what that person did to you. If I was, you wouldn't be here. So
Yes.
why do you keep, and it would put me like I would be very defensive, you
And
know?
you know what? You have to question that person. Why do you keep on choosing people who trigger you like this? You know why? Because that's what you're familiar with.
Mhm.
We pick what's familiar. We're human. This is
Yeah,
what we do. So if you are picking someone who continues to trigger you in a certain way, again, that's your choice.
that's right. You gotta look at your picker.
You are the one who chose this
You
person.
gotta
Don't
check
blame
your
them because
picker
they're
out.
triggering you. Blame
Yeah.
yourself for being around someone who triggers you like that. Or think about why they trigger you. Why are you being so triggered?
Or
What is
think
this
about
person?
why, if that person is so good to you, and if you're in conflict, you always take it back to that. When you know that person isn't that person. You know that.
Because again, it's familiar to them. You have to understand. It's what they are used to, what they how they see their remember, we see from the inside
Inside.
out. We project. So they're always going to be projecting. I sometimes tell people, don't project on me. It's like vomit. Don't
Ah, me, girl. You know how much
don't
times I
project
say
on me.
that?
Don't vomit on me, please. Like deal with yourself. Don't
Exactly.
don't don't vomit your trauma on me. Deal with it,
Exactly. And
please.
that's me. That's my reaction. Dr. Vibe says, Simone, so good to hear your voice and feel your heart. Oh,
Thank
I
you.
love
Thank you.
it.
It's been a
All
while
right.
now. Thank you, Emma. I
Let's
want
go
to
to
thank
the
you in these last few minutes. Like you have no idea how much I have honestly, I haven't even touched Dr. Amos Wilson. Like he's the person who really like helped me when it comes to him. So there's a book he has called The Psychology of Self-Hatred, Self-Defeat Towards a Reclamation of the African Mind. Dr. Amos Wilson, if you have not read any of his books, you need to. He is a black psychologist from back in the days, but his work is incredible. And he that one book taught me so much about myself and why we sometimes as people, as a community, why we hate ourselves so much.
and that's
Okay.
another topic.
The whole that's what I'm saying. We have so much to talk
Girl,
about. Like we haven't even touched that. Like I
when
have
we leave, we
so
gotta
much.
talk and just schedule them out.
Okay.
Seriously, because
Okay,
there's so much to talk about.
we'll do that. Is there another quote we want to is there a juicy quote that
Yes,
you
I was gonna say,
pull
can we
out?
do one more,
Yes,
please?
yes, yes.
Okay. So you are wired
Mm.
for emotion, but built to regulate it. Feeling your emotions is not enough. Mental health comes from being able to name, hold, and use your emotions, not be hijacked by them. Oh,
Wow.
the unregulated feel stick, the regulated move forward. Oh, sorry, feel stuck. The
Yes.
regulated move forward. Oh my gosh, please. Let's close off. Give us a beautiful commentary on this one.
So, you know what? I think um an intelligence that is not really spoken to, but is probably more important than IQ is EQ.
Hmm.
Emotional intelligence is something that is not I think needs to be taught in schools. We're too worried
I
about
agree.
honestly reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's important, but the ability to understand your emotions and not have them control you, knowing how to navigate people. It's a very my EQ, I'm going to tell you right now, my EQ is on point. There are people right now, I'm going to say this to you right now, real talks, who I have beef with and they would never know.
You know, it's funny that you say that.
Never
I'm
know.
the same way. Like, I literally can say, "You won't even know I don't like you."
You won't
Like,
even
you would
know.
not know. You know
No.
why? Because I know how to temper myself. I know how to be in a room and be in a space and keep it on about merit. So if I'm here to do the assignment, I understand the assignment, and I'm not going to allow my feelings, my thoughts, my whatever triggers, anything to keep me or away from what it is I'm tasked to do.
Mhm.
So, with that, you will not know. I will not let it bother me. It will not fester in me. It's not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm just, my chest, I feel it in my chest. And if I don't get, no, no, no,
Mm.
I'm good. You would not know.
People will try to utilize emotions to hijack your reality, and
Yeah.
I refuse to let
Refuse.
anybody. Listen, I'm gonna get mad if I want. If I want to be upset about something, I choose to be upset. There's nothing you can do to
Yeah.
make me. It doesn't matter what you say or do to me. Again, a lot of the times it's projection, and I'm laughing at you. Like whatever you feel about me, sweetheart, that's coming from you, sir. Sir, whatever you feel is coming from you. I will not allow you to control my emotions because they're mine. And
That's
sometimes
it.
in life, you need to learn how to play chess with these people out here. If I
Yes.
have someplace to go, I'm not going to let my listen. Dave, I think it was Dave Chappelle that talked about, no, Boondocks talked about nigga moments where you lose your mind and get all emotional because you've allowed someone to trigger you.
Yeah.
Absolutely
No.
not, sweetheart. I will smile at you.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's just like, again, going back to being in this line of work and being on camera and talking about things and the truth, the ugly truth hurts people. You know,
Yeah,
when you're exposing and putting a mirror in front of them and saying, look at your anti Black racist person that looks like you, even though it's not you, they will be affected by it because,
yeah.
well, if you're bothered by the ugly truth, then that means the truth also applies to you.
I
So
always say
now,
that.
if
Only
you
the
then
only
project,
dog who barks is the one that gets hit. You hear me? That's why you barking.
hit dog
Life has
hollers.
come out there and you're
Right.
hurt by it.
So my thing is, you're not going to tell me there's nothing. I've been called everything but a child of God. You
Mm,
will not be able to rattle me. That doesn't move me. In fact, all it does is fuel me. If you say to me that I'm a POS journalist, low grade journalist, because I put the truth in front of you, all I'm going to do is look for more truth because of what you said. And then I'll say, come back, see you tomorrow. Come watch this POS, low grade journalist, give you some more truth. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm the same way. Like,
yeah.
it's just, it doesn't move me. It
Mhm.
really doesn't.
It's you know what, and it's sad sometimes. So I'm like, oh, that hurt. I'm sorry. You should know
But you
that.
know what I also do too? I always wonder what is it within you that you feel like you're going to go and say all these horrible things to somebody. I think that's a reflection of your character and what's going on in your life.
Oh, projection. I said
Yes.
that's the word projection. When
Yes.
you're coming out at me, that's all that's in you. It don't have nothing to do with me.
Nothing. That's why I
Okay
don't
with
let it
that.
get to me because it's like that's your stuff, not mine. I know what I'm doing. I know who I am and I know what my job is to do. So, uh unless you want to go get yourself a tripod, get yourself some lights, get yourself a mic, and go speak your truth. Like let it out. But it's not going to affect my life.
Nope. Nope.
And I will close off with Dr. Vibe saying, "Choose your truth."
Choose your
Indeed,
truth.
choose your truth. Simone, this has been wonderful. I mean, I don't even know where the time went. We must schedule some more. Even if we
Absolutely.
just pick one specific day a week and we have our topic and we come on, and everybody knows to expect us on that day. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, because I
Let's
think
do it.
there's a lot that we can dig into, and I
A
think we can
lot.
get real help. Like I'll tell you this right now before we leave. I have zero problem sharing my story. Any
Same.
questions, Emma, you have about me and my life, I will share it because I don't care what people have to say. I don't care. I'm
Same.
here.
I mean, part of what we do too is we bring personal elements to what we do, but that's how people connect. That's how people
Yes,
relate. That's
yes,
what emboldens people to also be able to open up and seek
yes,
help and all the it's creating that safe space. And part of
absolutely.
that safe space is for people to actually get to know you,
Mhm.
and then you build the trust and people feel safe. So I think it's great. So we will definitely do it some more.
Yay.
Thank you so much for joining, and thank you to everybody that's on this live stream. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and
All
stay
that.
connected. Hit the notification bell so you know what's coming up next. Thank you again, Vanessa, as well. Vanessa says, thank you, Empresses. It has been a pleasure to listen. You are
Yeah.
so welcome, Vanessa. We will be back. Thank you to everybody else that joined. And you know what? Be safe, everybody. Tap in with yourself, check in with yourself, um, don't allow things to fester inside of you. Get the help. And Simone, tell people where they can find you so they
Ooh,
can come to
so
you if they want help.
absolutely here to help. That is my HEAR. My name in Hebrew actually means to hear, which is very
I
prophetic.
love that.
Okay. So I'm literally here to help. You can find me at Here to Help on Instagram, Simone Jennifer Smith, everything else, LinkedIn, Facebook. Yeah.
And it's HEAR, the number two,
Mm,
help,
help.
just so
Yeah.
people know.
Here
Thank you.
to help.
One Uncle Kel, he gave us a bunch of clapping emojis. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Bye
Bye.
bye.